Conservatives rightly recognize that when everything is labeled racism, it dilutes the term and provides cover to actual racists. This is similar to the fable of the boy who cried wolf. After repeatedly raising false alarms, the townspeople no longer believe him when a real wolf appears. Repeatedly crying conspiracy when one is not present has the same effect. When everything is labeled a conspiracy, it provides cover for actual conspiracies, causing real harm. During my recent debate on whether transgenderism is harmful to society, I felt the harmful effects of the conservatives who cried conspiracy firsthand. Throughout the debate, I spoke about the scandal that is gender medicine, particularly pediatric gender medicine. Despite knowing that children losing their fertility and future sexual function is an obvious medical scandal based on the lie that people can be born in the wrong body, I couldn't shake the feeling that by pointing out how misled the public has been on this issue, I was inevitably going to be lumped in with actual conspiracy theorists on the right, like Candace Owens and Ian Carroll. I also knew that their consistent crying of conspiracy made it much more difficult for anyone who leans left to believe a single word that I said. Not because I believe any of the loony right-wing conspiracies, but because from their perspective, conservatives have undermined their credibility when challenging mainstream narratives. This is why Ben Shapiro's speech at AmFest outlining what commentators owe their audiences was so imperative. In his speech, he mentioned 5 obligations that people who speak to you on matters of importance have to you: truth, principle, not personal feeling, responsibility, evidence, and solutions. Unfortunately, if you want to grow an audience quickly without regard for ethics and the impact on the country, ignoring all 5 of these obligations may very well be the quickest way to do it. And this is why you should be wary of taking podcasters and influencers' political opinions and advice seriously. They are often operating under different incentives than serious politicians and Americans who actually care about their country and their neighbors. What polls well with 50% of Americans is likely very different than what is popular among Americans who listen to political podcasts, especially the hyper-partisan ones. If a podcaster wants to grow their platform, the best way to do it will often not be to run to the middle or be honest about the faults in their own party, since to do so is to risk alienating those caught up in political tribalism, which frankly is a large number of those who listen to podcasts centered around politics. To follow Shapiro's 5 principles, I really ought to justify my claims from earlier about Candace Owens and Ian Carroll. So here you go. On December 18, 2025, Candace Owens tweeted, quote, "Every time Ben speaks, I feel more certain Israel is involved in 9/10. He's just way too invested in Charlie's murder. He never liked Charlie, and he's now suddenly pretending he had a duty to defend his legacy. Ben only cares about Israel's interests, so Israel is involved." End quote. Candace is also being sued for defamation over her claims that Bridget Macron, France's First Lady, is a man. Ian Carroll has also suggested Israel was involved in Charlie Kirk's murder, posting on X the day after Charlie was killed, quote, "Yesterday was a turning point for Israel-US relations. Less than 24 hours and the internet already figured out who the most likely culprit was. He was their friend. He basically dedicated his life to them, and they murdered him in front of his family. Israel just shot themselves." End quote. Just within the last 2 months, he has also posted videos to YouTube with thumbnails such as, quote, "Was Charlie electrocuted?" End quote, and titles such as, quote, "Maybe I'm coming around on the exploding mic theory." End quote. In short, throwing around conspiracy theories as if they can do no harm is childish and undermines conservatives' credibility when they challenge mainstream narratives that actually are false. Anyone peddling these theories ought to be shunned by the conservative movement and by their own viewers until they repent. If you enjoyed this video, consider supporting me using my Buy Me a Coffee link in the description or on my website, and consider shopping my merch, which you can also find a link to in the description.